Riding Hood's got a basket full of kick-ass!
Welcome to Neo Paris, where classical art and architecture contrast with holographic advertisements and robotic valets bask in electric light. The city is governed by a comically nefarious surveillance state that manipulates and deceives its populace with a network cheekily labeled Platty News. The thought-controlled citizenry are too dim to realize that a super prison called La Bastille might be some sort of monument of oppression they should consider storming and burning to the ground. Instead, they're content to download the memories of others, shop for laser-edge couture, and lust after expressionless, hard plastic robots.
Whoopee! Edge did it! Come here, sweetheart!
Then there's the rapidly growing underclass of memory junkies whose brains are so warped by memory writes and rewrites that they've somehow transformed into golem-like mutants that can turn invisible and cling to walls. It's fascinating and it's ridiculous, and it makes an interesting setting for a video game. You play as an amnesiac memory hunter named Nilin, who treats the insanity of the world around her with unwavering seriousness. You'll work to bring down this futuristic dystopian government by leaping across rooftops, sneaking through office buildings, punching out police, and in the game's best moments, rewriting memories. The process known as the Memory Remix is without a doubt the thing that will stick with you should you decide to play Remember Me. You view a scene as a detached observer, first watching what happens and then scrubbing back and forth through time by spinning the analog stick, searching for opportunities to screw with the subject's mind. You're effectively flipping switches at set points, do you move the table or not move the table, but it's still interesting and rewarding to play the poltergeist, figuring out how each variation alters the scene while trying to predict how the elements might come together.
What are you gonna do, shoot me?
The puzzling stops short of the brilliance displayed in Capcom's mechanically similar Ghost Trick, but you're likely to find yourself anticipating the next opportunity to dive into a brain and start poking as you progress through the game. Sadly, you'll soon face the revelation that the skulls cracked to brains hacked ratio is hopelessly skewed in favor of problematic, repetitive brawling. Remember Me's frequent battles have you rhythmically tapping out attacks and dodging whenever an enemy is about to strike. The game riffs on the timing-focused combat popularized by Batman Arkham Asylum, successful at differentiating itself through a limited customization element, but unable to achieve more than superficial depth. You'll create custom combos by placing beautifully animated punches and kicks into linear strings, each strike color-coded to indicate increased damage, health regeneration, or sped-up access to special abilities. It adds a minor strategic angle and is fun to play around with, but in the end, there's very little functional difference between a red X and a purple Y. No attack is inherently faster or more effective than another, and since the timing for every combo is the same no matter which attacks you swap in and out, it rarely feels like you're doing anything different from fight to fight, regardless of your setup. Enemies tend to clump up around you, and it can be difficult to make Nilin swing at one specific opponent. Even though you eventually gain a gauntlet that blasts single targets away, you'll still spend a lot of time running around, waiting for an enemy to break from the pack so you can beat them up and build focus. Focus can be spent to power special attacks that stick a target with the crowd-wrecking logic bomb or hack a robot to attack its allies, techniques that are crucial to prevailing in encounters with tougher groups of enemies. As you draw closer to the game's finale, Nilin gains more of these special techniques, making fighting a bit more interesting. You'll have the chance to dive into another memory remix after a long drought, a pair of late-game plot twists comes off successfully despite the silliness of the overall plot, and the game barely recovers from a bad case of mid-game slump during the final hours of its roughly 8-hour playtime. The inability of Remember Me to maintain momentum and hold the player's interest is the most obvious symptom that the game can't quite clear the high bar it sets for itself. There are numerous minor issues and inconsistencies along the way holding it back. Nilin's movements can be convincing and natural, but you'll feel a slight delay when you nudge the analog stick, which can make sneaking around drones or leaping across gaps feel awkward. In a fight, delivering a knockout blow can actually feel disappointing. It cancels your current combo and can easily trip up your timing by starting a new combo on a new enemy. Because you earn bonus points for landing 6 or more consecutive hits, and those points can buy new attacks, efficiently defeating enemies can feel counterintuitive, and you may even find yourself constructing low-damage combos, pursuing the bizarre goal of hitting your enemies more softly in order to maximize your points. The game also contains a few rookie design mistakes. There's no way to disable frequently appearing help text, for example. Nilin has special animations for punching and kicking outside of a fight, but nothing in the world responds, so her vestigial high kicks only serve to make the game look silly. It's also embarrassing for a game called Remember Me to end up wasting the player's time out of forgetfulness. If you're knocked out or fall off a ledge before you hit a checkpoint, everything you did in the interim will be wiped. Maybe you've just spent several minutes in the combo lab to ensure you can gain life during your next go at a particularly tough scrap. If you lose again, Nilin will not remember your combos. This isn't just inconvenient, it further harms the game's lagging pace.
There's a storm brewing, sweetheart. You don't let it swallow you up!
Troubled though it may be, Remember Me puts forth an admirable broad effort at creating an action-adventure, taking a crack at every convention in the book. Included are big fights against supersized goons and robots, to extended environmental puzzles, solving spoken riddles to unlock doors, and follow the leader sequences the game calls Remembrains. And it bears repeating that memory remixes, though underdeveloped and underutilized, really are a great idea that feels wickedly empowering.
I need healthy specimens, not trauma victims!
Yeah, whatever. Just fill out a damn form.
There's a lot crammed in, but there's also a lot to forgive. You're also facing a predilection for cheesy puns. Are leapers meant to be the futuristic equivalent of lepers? And some of the vocal performances and dialogue sound downright embarrassing. Just as Remember You Soon feels like the most contrived parting expression since Smell You Later,
I gotta get going. I think I've been made. Remember you soon.
Remember Me isn't quite up to par in terms of craft. But whatever you might say about it, this curious and ambitious game certainly isn't without personality or interest. It's up to you to decide if your mind has room to hold such a curious oddity.
Don't kill her! I want to taste her mind!